welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name is Mark and I'm a professional visual effect artist and supervisor, and also upcoming writer and director. In the past, I worked for many high-end clients such as Netflix, Apple TV, HBO Max, Warner Bros. And many more. In this video, I want to show you my approach to achieving cinema and Netflix quality shots, such as the ones you see now. These were actually test shots we did with Scott for one of my upcoming short films. Links are going to be in the description for his channel. Before I begin, I just wanted to say that I have created a Patreon where I will be sharing more in-depth tutorials behind the scenes for upcoming projects. And you can also download the project files. The project files are mainly going to be for Cinema 4D and After Effects, but the techniques you see on there, you will also be able to apply them in any 3D or compositing software. I uploaded one video so far, which is part 1 of creating these 2 shots. Many films utilize green screens in order to place their actors into environments that match their storytelling. Often the foreground is created practically so the actors can interact with it, and then you place a green or blue screen in the background, and that way you can extend this set later in post-production. In the visual effects world, this is called set extension. This technique is used in almost every modern movie. In an ideal world, I would actually shoot my entire films practically, because even as a VFX artist, I think preserving what's real is really important, and it can come across way more authentic. Also, more importantly, if you're shooting on a physical set, your actors have an easier job of immersing themselves into the character because they don't have to also imagine what the location will look like, and that may potentially help their performances. So if it's better to shoot practically, then why would I shoot the majority of my films on green screens? Well, the problem I have at the stage where I am right now in my directing career is that I don't have the budget required to achieve the lighting and composition I envision in pre-production, and I'm pretty sure many people are on the same stage as me. Using visual effects is a great way to enhance your visuals or sometimes even create them from scratch. And while it may take longer to create your film using this technique, it does allow you to immerse your audience further into the story, which in my opinion is worth the effort and time. That said, I think it's really important to keep a balance and do as much practically as you can. Alright, moving on, I wanted to quickly kind of showcase how I made these 2 shots. Let's start with breaking down what's really important when shooting these kinds of live action plates. We're going to be focusing only on what you need to do to get a good result in terms of compositing, as there are many other factors that would contribute to something looking and feeling cinematic. And that, to me, always begins with your story. We'll probably cover many other aspects in future videos. Alright, number 1. Lighting your subject. You basically just have to match as much as you can the lighting from the 3D environment. In my 3D environment, I made the lighting to look like it's a foggy morning. Luckily, on the day we filmed, it was actually quite cloudy and foggy, so this gave a really good base for the lighting. Then I used 2 tube lights to enhance the lighting coming from behind him on both sides. I like to first create the 3D environment and set up the lighting for that. I light these environments as I would in real life, which is a key to realism in my opinion. You want to make sure that the lighting you're doing is actually possible in real life, otherwise people might question how it was lit. The same applies to your camera angle and motion. Number 2, you're going to need a really good key. This is extremely important, as if you have a bad key or roto, it's going to break the illusion immediately. Alright, moving on to creating the 3D environment. After I have a good key of the foreground elements, I go to Cinema 4D. The environment is made with pre-existing 3D models and textures I purchased either on CG Trader or Fab. The ground is created using 2 different textures. They are blended together with just different noises. There are 3 different grounds. This is mainly to add depth. On each ground, there are matrix objects which basically scatter 3D models on the surface. To make it random, I have a random effector. On the first matrix, I have a few different trees, and those are all scattered around the grounds. There are also random branches all over the ground. And lastly, to add some color variations, there are also some small plants. All of these matrix objects follow selections I made on the grounds. This way, they are not cloned across the entire landscape, rather specific parts. And lastly, I added more random trees and bushes. Let's move on to the lighting setup. There are 2 area lights, one for the background and one for the foreground. In Cinema 4D, you can set how diffuse these lights are by just adjusting the spread option. There are also 2 spotlights. The reason I added 2 more spotlights is to add more randomness to the lighting, but also these are harsher lights. They are blended together with the area lights, so they are less visible, but they do add a couple of hotspots, which I think looks more realistic. Moving on. After I have a good key, I bring that into Cinema 4D, apply the footage to a plane as a texture, tweak the texture slightly, which purely depends on the shot, then it's all ready to be exported from Cinema 4D. Next up is compositing. I wanted to add subtle smoke rising on his left side, as if there was a fire that recently went out. I used stock footage to do this from my company company, Visual Effects Pro, links in the description. You will also get this stock footage when you subscribe to my Patreon. As this was a test and I really only spent a few days on creating this shot, I did not add any wind to the background elements. I'm also developing a good and memory effective way of doing this so I can share it in the future. I also did some basic color correction and grading in After Effects. And finally, here's the final results. Alright, thank you so much for watching. That's the end of the video. If you liked this kind of content, please consider subscribing. And also I'm going to have a link to my Patreon where you can check out the more in-depth tutorials. And also you can download the project files if you like. Of course, whatever 3D assets I bought, I won't be able to include for copyright reasons, but you can use any kind of 3D assets you have and then just replace the ones I've added in my project file. Thank you so much. Bye.